What is up, sports bettors? It is Matt Modi with OddsJam coming to you to give a Monday Night Football betting preview. Game one of Monday Night Football, let me add. For whatever reason, the NFL is giving us two Monday Night Football games in week two. Normally they do that in week one. They're not even staggering these games, so I don't quite understand it. But regardless, none of that stuff matters because it means we have two football games to watch on Monday night. So as I mentioned in this video, giving a preview for Monday Night Football specifically. In this one, it is game one of Monday Night Football, the Bills hosting the Titans. Of course, I am using OddsJam to look at all the lines of this game. If you want to check out the lines yourself, you can do that on OddsJam. Just go to oddsjam.com, go to sports, go to NFL. You can do all this for completely free. So I'm going to talk about the game, give my best bets, give my predictions, what I think is going to happen. And then I'm going to check out the OddsJam Positive expected value page, and I'm going to see if there are any positive EV bets that we can take for this game. So, Bills at home hosting the Titans. Unsurprisingly, the Bills are favorites here. What I do find a little bit surprising is how heavy favorites they are. The Titans have beat the Bills 2 years in a row now, and the Titans were still the one seed in the AFC last year. Now I know, and I get it, right? I get why the Bills are such heavy favorites. Last week, the Bills came in to opening night as betting favorites to win the Super Bowl. All they did on opening night is absolutely smash the defending champ, Los Angeles Rams, almost said St. Louis, in the Rams' home stadium. Granted, that Los Angeles crowd isn't much of a home field advantage for the Rams, but regardless, the Bills absolutely took it to the Rams in that game. Didn't even punt. The times they turned it over, kind of fluky. One of them, Isaiah McKenzie, the ball hit him right in the hands. He dropped it, popped out, went right into the Rams defender's hands. They fumbled. Regardless, the Rams couldn't do anything with that Bills offense. Now the Bills are at home going against a Titans team that just lost to the New York freaking Giants. That same New York freaking Giants team that hasn't had a winning record since 2016. But funny enough, the Titans were one of the few games in which they lost the game, but advanced analytics like DVOA, other stuff, actually had them as the better team. So it's kind of fluky that the Titans lost. So if you like the Titans money line, you can get them at plus 380. That actually isn't the worst value in the world. You can see using OddsJam, which is really cool, the best odds, and it also gives you the average. So the average odds on them are plus 364. You can get them at plus 380. Another thing that's cool is you can see what like sharp books are pricing them at. BetOnline has them at plus 360. The OddsJam line, which is pulled from Pinnacle, which is the sharpest sportsbook in the world, has them at plus 342. And again, we can get them at plus 380 on Tipico. I don't hate that. I don't love that either. I'm not touching the money line. What's more interesting is the spread. And I did find this interesting. So this game opened. The early lines for this game had the Titans plus 7. So they had the Bills as about 7-point favorites. Now, after what we saw in week one, this has been bet all the way up to Titans plus 10. So it went up about 3 points higher than what it initially was at before the games in week one. This page, if you go to point spread, it tells you what like the main lines are, which I think is really cool. Pricing them at about minus 9.5, minus 10. I get why the Titans are this big underdogs. I get why the Bills are thus this big of favorites. And I actually like that. I think I worry a lot about reacting too much to what happened in week one. But I actually think this is a good bet. I think that the Bills are going to cover this spread. They're actually one of my early predictions. I came out with the video earlier this week. I took the Bills at minus 9.5. Now, the value on that isn't quite as good as what I got it at. Now it's been bet up a little too much and the odds aren't as favorable as I got, but I still do like the Bills at minus 9.5. So that is my official prediction and a bet that I have already locked in. This Bills team, they just seem like a team that is coming out for revenge, that is coming out to avenge all of their previous losses, and a team that's just on a mission. So there are going to be some lulls in the middle of the year. You know, week 8 against the Jets, week 9 against the Browns, whatever. When they're playing one of these not as good teams, the Bills might not show up. They might not play as well as they have been. But for week 2, they're still as motivated as ever. They haven't quite hit the midseason lull. I think the Bills are going to come out for blood against the Titans, and I don't think the Titans are good enough. They were kind of a fluky 1 seed last year. They only finished 20th in DVOA, and that was literally being the 1 seed in the AFC. They didn't even finish as a top half team in the league, and they got the 1 seed. So they're already kind of a fluky 1 seed. Now, they don't have A.J. Brown. We'll see what we get out of Derrick Henry and their offseason addition of Robert Woods for 1 week. Granted, we're not taking victory laps after 1 week. Hasn't gone well. So not going to be something that I'm going to officially lock in because the value is no longer there. But my official prediction is that the Bills cover the 9.5 spread here. Looking at the total is where I think there was some value last time I checked. Looks like the main lines have this at about between 47.5 and 48.5. And it looks like the value here is on 48.5 if you lock this in on BetRivers. The OddsJam line prices that at minus 116. BetRivers prices it at minus 108. And it looks like the OddsJam line has this total more so at 48 as opposed to 48.5. So they think that this total should be a half point lower than what the than what BetRivers has it at minus 108. Interestingly enough, they also favor the under 48 at that number. Granted, not by a ton, like minus 107. The over is at minus 105. So very, very slightly favoring the under, but still favoring it. It isn't until we get a full point lower than what BetRivers has that OddsJam starts to favor the over. So basically, OddsJam is telling you they think that the most likely scenario is that this has 48 points scored. Now, I know beating the closing line by a point or half a point might not seem like a lot, but I can assure you, if this total ends at exactly 48, you took under 48.5, you are going to feel like a genius. I promise you. In other sharp books like BetOnline, price this total at 47.5. Now, these are just the main lines. If you want to look at the alternate lines, you can just scroll down. So if we do that, we see a little bit more value here. Looks like circa, you could get under 49, so a half point higher at minus 112. That is a good value as well. For me, I like it at minus 48.5, so I'm actually going to go ahead and lock that in. It's not going to be McSlam worthy, so I'm not going to put the full unit on it. This is just a half unit play for me. If I could find it, Titans Bills under 48.5 at minus 108. This is going to be a $50 play for me. Bet has been placed and we are good to go. So I decided to go with the better odds at minus 108, put $50 on it as opposed to the worse odds at minus 112 or minus 114, something like that. So, of course, I think that the under is a good play. So my official predictions for this game, if I go back to the main lines, I have the Bills winning, unsurprisingly. I have the Bills covering the 9.5 spread, and an official bet is taking the under 48.5 at minus 108 on BetRivers. Now, let me refresh the positive EV page, see if there are any positive expected value plays. Unfortunately, player props have not been posted yet, so the only EV plays are on the main lines. And it looks like the under is pretty consistently positive expected value at 46.5, 46, 45.5. Any spread, any total that you're looking at, it's plus EV. So that's a good sign that I chose a positive expected value bet. So that's going to be it. So that's going to be my Monday night betting preview. Stay tuned on this channel. Once player props start getting posted, I'll give my player prop best bets. I'll give my anytime touchdown scorer best bets, all that good stuff. So make sure to click that subscribe button on the OddsJam YouTube channel, and that is it. So I appreciate you guys watching. Other than that, you can comment with your feedback. Would appreciate that. And that's it. So enjoy this Monday Night Football doubleheader and have a good one.